Hello everyone and welcome to another random bits and pieces segment from my brain, and today sit a while for we're playing some more Franchise Hockey Manager 6 as part of the Ottawa Senators. So we had a pretty successful off-season, I would say. Put our hands on some pretty promising young talent. Of course, in 1999, nobody knows for sure how good Pavel Datsyuk, Joe Thornton, and Zdeno Chara are going to become in their careers. But let's just say GM Jesse Bonhomme might be a little bit of a visionary. So we got those guys, and we went through the preseason with some mitigated results. Didn't do all that great in preseason. I have settled down on my lineup. Of course, Tim Thomas is going to be part of my lineup whenever he comes back from his injury. So I present to you your 1999-2000 Ottawa Senators. So this is the team I've decided to go with Bonhomme in net. Kirk McLean is there until Tim Thomas comes back. And then I have some D there. I went with a little bit of youth. To be honest with you, I do have quite a bit of youth at the D position, and I kind of had to make some decisions. So my D is not necessarily the strongest. If there's a spot that I wish I could improve, that probably would be my D at this moment. I'm kind of in a situation where most of my players are in very similar situations where they're kind of young and developing, but not just quite there yet. So a lot of my D players have decent potential, but they're just not quite at their max potential there. So in the minors, I still have guys like Sheldon Surrey, Chris Phillips, and Sammy Salo. Those have at least 2-star potential, but they're still like 1-stars and everything. So I decided to go with Big Z, Brian Berard, Brian McKay. Mike Ratchie has been decent for us. I decided to keep Roman Hammerlich. I hesitated a lot. He hasn't been playing all that great for us, but we'll see. Norm McIver, the veteran, he's still putting up some points, and he can play on the power play. I kind of need somebody, especially since I lost Kelly Johansson. Again, as usual, nothing is absolutely set in stone forever. If somebody struggles too bad, I might make a move. And then Zvela has been really good for us. In previous iterations of the game, Robert Zvela was kind of a hit or miss player. Sometimes you would get him and he would be very bad, and he's been pretty good for us. Then at left wing, I have Pavel Datsyuk, Magnus Arvidsson, Thomas Holmstrom, and Vili Peltonen. So really not bad. At center, I have 3 centers that I consider that are kind of very similar, so I might have to deal one of them. I have Mike Sillinger, Rob Niedermeyer, and Matt Cullen that kind of serve the same purpose as far as I'm concerned. So I might have to make a decision with that. And then of course I have Nieuwendyk and Yashin at center as well. And then Daniel Alfredson, Marian Oso, Joe Thornton, Bill Guerin, and Andreas Dackel on right wing. This is a pretty stacked right wing, at least as far as name recognition goes. That's pretty good there. So this is my team. I'm pretty excited to see how we're going to do. My D, it might be a little bit of a question mark. Other than that, my forwards, I'm not too worried about that. We should be able to score some goals. And my goaltending with Bonhomme and Tim Thomas should be, dare I say, adequate. We'll see. So obviously, we won't know until we start playing some games. So we will be starting this season on the road against the Flyers. And I am going to start advancing now. There's going to be some players put on waivers. Maybe I'm going to find a gem in there. How many contracts do I have? 41. Yep, so I have 9 free spots. So I can definitely pick up somebody if there's a good player that's there. Gerald Scaldi hurt while helping a friend move, playing for the Flyers actually, so you're not going to be facing us to start the season. Alright, Damian Rhodes and Sheldon Surrey have to clear waivers. Poor Damian Rhodes never played a game. Did he? Oh, I think I might have had him as the backup at the end of the season where there was an injury. Maybe. Ooh. So the Atlanta Thrashers have waived Manny Fernandez. That might be an interesting pickup for us. Let's take a look at who's been waived there. Manny Fernandez, for sure, a decent player. Oh, Guilbert is being waived. Do I want to pick him up just in case? Probably wouldn't hurt. Manny Fernandez was a decent goaltender. He had a decent season, decent career that started a little late in his career. And he was kind of in that tandem thing that was happening with Dwayne Roloson. Do I want to pick up Manny Fernandez? He's only here for one more year. I think I'm going to let him go. And I'm not seeing anybody else that I absolutely want on waivers. That's rare. Usually I always pick up at least one guy. Not this year. We're going to keep with what we have, I think. Alright. Alright, the 1999-2000 NHL season preview. Alright, so the Stanley Cup favorites, early Stanley Cup favorites appear to be New Jersey, led by Marty Brodeur. Detroit from Brian Murray, and Colorado with Joe Sakic at center. Among the dark horses, Montreal stands out as a possible challenger with a big season by Patrick Roy capable of pushing them into contender status. So yeah, that sounds about right. The scoring race will likely see Phoenix Timo Solani challenged by Mario Lemieux of Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh's Jaromir Jagr. The top defenseman in the league is generally considered to be Chicago Blackhawks blue liner Chris Chelios, with Detroit's Nick Lidstrom and Brian Leach also in the running. And for the goaltenders, pretty much the same names as always: Marty Brodeur, Patrick Roy, and Ed Belfour. Alright, the season starts tomorrow, October 2nd, in Philly. Alright, and the season started for other teams, and there was a good game for Jaromir Jagr, who had 3 goals and 2 assists to start the season against Dallas, so 8-3 win. 5-point game to start the season. Jaromir Jagr is 27. He's going to be good for quite a little while, so I really, like many hockey fans, I really wonder what kind of, points and everything Jagr would have put up if he wouldn't have defected to the KHL for a while. Well, defected, I don't know if defected is the right word, but if he wouldn't have started to play in the KHL for a few years. Brian Leach's assist streak ended at 8 games. He had no point outscored against Edmonton. Oh, actually, Edmonton won 3-0. Alright, and so we are playing in Philadelphia. Of course, they have no record, as we don't either. So Gerald Scaldi's been put on the injured reserve. Other than that, they have Grant Fuhr and it's Maxim Ouellet, I think. Yeah, Maxim Ouellet and net. So they got rid of Jamie McLennan, who had like that incredible season, won the Roger Crozier Award, but I guess the first round exit in 4 games against us might have cost him his job, apparently. So Sean Chambers, Gary Galley is 36 now. He's still at 2 stars and a half. Yanni Ninima, Yaroslav Modry, Pavel Trunka, Drew Bannister, Eric Weinrich. That's the D. That's okay. Zubrus, Darren McCarty, Marcus Naslund, Simon Gagné, Matt Cook, Brennan Moore, Lindros, Patrick Poulin, Jeff Shantz, Korolak, Mark Recchi, Renberg, Darcy Tucker, and Martin St. Oh! So Philadelphia went and picked up Martin St. Louis, and they still have Renberg and Recchi, and even Darcy Tucker. So that right wing can compete with ours for sure. The Flyers have a decent team. Goaltending might not be there, but they have a decent team. Alright. So, looks like we're using Joe Nieuwendyk as a second-line center, but, I mean, he's still playing with Osa and Datsuk, so I'm not sure it's really a demotion. Alright, let's get this going. And the season is officially underway. We are going with Mike Dunham. So Grant Fuhr is back to being a starter, apparently, starting the season in Philadelphia. Ooh, that's not pretty. We lost 6-1. Yikes. I was expecting better things than that. So I guess the Flyers got some revenge for what we did to them in the playoffs. We outshot them 34-32. We gave the puck away a little bit too much. 8 times to them twice. Marcus Naslund was the first star with a goal and an assist. Grant Fuhr, second star with 33 saves. And Yanni Ninima, third star with a goal and an assist. So the Flyers scored 3 times in the first. They were up 3-0. Gary Galley scored in the second. They were up 4-0. And then finally, Daniel Alfredson scored sometime in the third period on the power play from Joe Nieuwendyk and Alexei Yashin. It was 5-1 at that point. Forget it. That game was over. John Leclerc extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and 2 assists against the Leafs. John Leclerc is 30 years old now. Pat Falloon, 27, is not getting suspended in San Jose, sorry. There was no stopping Ray Whitney in that same game. Ray Whitney had 3 goals and an assist for 4 points against Calgary. Turner Stevenson in Calgary, his suspension is over. He will be back in the lineup. Strong night for Teemu Selanne, who had 4 goals and 1 assist for 5 points against St. Louis. Pretty good little game for Teemu Selanne, starting the season pretty strong. And in that same game, Alexei Zamnov had 5 assists. Wow. Alright, next game is in 2 days at Madison Square Garden against the Rangers. Wayne McBean available on waivers, and the Ottawa Senators are not going to pick him up. Alright, we are playing the Rangers. The Rangers are 0-2 to start the season. They've lost their first 2 games. So it is technically the only team that's below us in the Eastern standings right now. Ooh, couple injuries in New York that might explain what's going on. Mark Messier is hurt, as is Ken Klee. So Messier's still 3 stars and a half. He's 38. Oops. Alright, so they have Mike Richter and Patrick Lalime in net. So in net, they should be pretty much set. Then Brian Leach, Mertzig, Delmore, Richards, Yuskevich, Sergei Zubov. Alright, so that's an intriguing D. Very strong first pair, middling second pair, and horrible third pair, I guess. Kavasha, Sundstrom, Sonnenberg, Bulatov. I can't say I'm super familiar with Bulatov. Mark Savard, of course. That Had that concussion that ended his career. Brendan Martin, Darren Turcotte still playing. Doug Waite, Christian Dubé, Mike York, Pavel Brendel, Ty Domi, Tony Granato, Ivan Novoseltsov, and Alexei Kovalev. So, good goaltending. The rest of the team is kind of hit or miss. Lots of half-star players on that lineup. Alright, come on. Surely we can win a game on the road. Going with Mike Bonhomme again. They are going with Mike Richter. We lost again. 3-2. Oh boy. Not the start to the season we wanted. We completely outshot them 44-23. So it's Mike Bonhomme that's probably didn't play good enough. I don't know. Sergei Zubov was the first star of this game. He had an assist. Robert Zvela for us was the second star with 2 assists. And Mike Richter, a third star with 42 saves. We actually opened the scoring with Yashin on the power play from Zvela and Joe Thornton. Then the Rangers scored, and then Mike Sellinger scored from Zvela, and we were actually up 2-1 after 1. But the Rangers scored twice in the second period, and then that score held. Oh, great. Daniel Alfredson is hurt for about 4 days. That shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. Well, he can't play with it, but I have spare parts in the lineup. Next game is in 2 days. We are going to be hosting the Boston Bruins. Brendan Shanahan is suspended in St. Louis. He's going to miss 6 games. And there's been a trade between the Sharks and the Flames. I wonder if it's for Mika Kiprusov. Yeah, I don't believe that it is. So, Calgary traded Turner Stevenson and Doug Huda to San Jose for Rob Gaudreau and Rob Davison. Yeah, the minor trade. I guess the best player in there is probably Turner Stevenson, which is saying a lot. Alright, playing Boston, we kind of need a win now. We need to turn it around. We don't want to start the season with a bunch of losses, really. So, Boston is 1-1. They don't have any injured players on the injured reserve right now, so in net they are set. They have Yevgeny Nabokov and Tomas Vokun, so in net that shouldn't be a problem for them. On D, Peter Aola, Sandy Sozolinch, Don Sweeney, Ray Bort, Craig Rivet, Jason York. That's a pretty decent D. Not a lot of weaknesses there. Josef Stumpel, Ted Donato, Dave Laurie, Kent Manderville, Todd Warner, Joey Juneau, Adam Oates, Keith Primo, Mike Ritchie, Joel Perpich of a Croatian descent. So, as I learned. Marius Cherkowski, Nelson Emerson, Glenn Murray, Cam Neely, and Mark Mowers. They have a pretty good team. This is a pretty decent team. I think they can definitely challenge for the top spot in our division. Maybe not top spot in the East, but definitely in our division. I think they're strong enough to be able to do that. Alright, so playing at home, first home game of the season against the Boston Bruins. They are going with Nabokov. We're going to Mike Bonhomme, trying to get his season kick-started. And we won this one 6-3, decisive victory. That's what we needed to see. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. Shots were tied at 33. Yeah, I think that the fan interest, I think we can effectively say that it's kind of broken in the game now, or at least in historical play. because I made the playoffs. I had a round sweep. I got a bunch of really good players, and I have 9,793 people in attendance. So the whole system of you lose a point, you win, you gain a point of fan interest might not be working optimally, because when you start, like I did with the Ottawa Senators when they were really bad, you dig yourself a hole so bad of losing so much that it makes it almost impossible to, climb back up out of. So now I play where I cannot be fired, so I don't know if not generating enough money can get you fired or something like that. I don't know if it's one of those conditions, but if it affects that's bad. Okay, it's not my fault that the Ottawa Senators did really poorly in their expansion draft. They really did. They really screwed it up. Tampa Bay went the right route, but Ottawa did. Anyway, I'm not going to go through that. But anyway, that system probably needs fine-tuning. Yes, losing a lot should, it should matter and everything. But I think that it shouldn't be a long-lasting effect like it is right now, because my team has been winning a little bit more lately, and I don't really see any difference in attendance. And the Ottawa Senators in the year 2000s were winning games and they were attracting people. I know that Ottawa right now in 2020 is having some attendance issues, but that has only started really about 4 or 5 years ago, because our owner is, well, he's not very charismatic, let's just put it that way. So anyway, rant over. The first half of this game was Vili Peltonen with a goal and 2 assists. Brian Berard, that is starting his career, was the second star with 3 assists. Pretty good game. And Alexei Yashin, third star with 2 assists. So Peltonen scored on the power play from Yashin and Zvela. Norm McIver from Brian Berard and Vili Peltonen. And then Boston scored. So after 1, we were up 2-1. Then in the second period, we kind of ran away with the game. Guerin scored, assisted by Nieuwendyk and Berard. Boston scored, and then Roman Hamrlik scored short-handed from Osa and Zdeno Chara. And Zvela from Yashin and Peltonen. We were up 5-2 after 2. And then we traded goals in the third, with Mike Seninger scoring in the empty net from Andreas Dackel and Brian Berard. So the final score was 6-3. Ron Francis suspended in Pittsburgh. 36 years old. Ron Francis suspended. Is going to miss 2 games. Per Juice was apparently suspended. Our old defenseman plays in New Jersey now. His suspension is over. Gary Galley played in his 1000th game at age 36. Alright, our next game is at home against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay, Mike Keane in Montreal is not suspended. Vincent D'Anfous in that same game played in his 1000th game, and he celebrated with an assist against Calgary. The Tiger, Michel Bergeron, is angry at local media coverage in Dallas. Dallas is not having a good season so far. They are 0-3-1. Tom Barrasso has played in 800 games. So Barrasso is now 34 years old. He's only a 1-star goaltender anymore. Milan Hejduk, new name that we haven't seen much. Milan Hejduk extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and an assist against Pittsburgh in that same game. Alright. Daniel Alfredson ahead of schedule. That would be good. Tim Thomas is fine. That's even better. And Alfie Michaud, the goaltender I had never heard of, got new pads. And somehow it's news. So plays for the Vancouver Canucks. Hey, you never know. He might get himself a career. So we are going to send Kurt McLean down. Sorry, Kurt. I'm putting you on waivers. Oops. I should have checked that first. I cannot get... I need a second goaltender. I should have checked that. Now I feel dumb. Alright, so I am going to... make an emergency recall of Damian Rhodes for this game, so I should have checked that. Alright, so we are playing at home against Toronto, so the Leafs have the same record as us. They are 1-2 to start the season. Oh, they have a bunch of injuries too. And they have Wendell Clark that's just, you know, stuffing his face with poutine every day. And, you know, he's in Ontario, so the poutine is not the best. You really should go to Quebec for that. Alright, so Jean-Jacques Daigneault and Daniel Markov are both injured, so their D is a little bit banged up. Eric Fichot, Jean-Sébastien Giguère in net, so Giguère is okay. Yeah, we played them in preseason, I think, and they have an average team. They don't really have any superstars. They have a couple guys with a lot of potential. I guess we get to see if in my universe Nick Antropov is actually going to develop to his full potential. He was a little bit of a letdown in real life. He didn't quite develop to what he was supposed to become, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't bad, he wasn't terrible, but I guess the feeling was that he was supposed to become a better player than he became. Alright. So we are playing the Leafs. We are going with Damian Rhodes, freshly recalled. They are going with Jean-Sébastien Giguère. And we won 6-2, so Damian Rhodes came in as an emergency call-up because I messed up. And he won us the game. Good job. We outshot them, actually. We doubled them in shot, 48-24. So pretty good game all around. Oh, that's a little bit better. We had 11,550 people in attendance. Still not enough, but looking a little bit better. Shara was the first star of this game. He had an assist. Andreas Dackel was the second star with 2 goals. And Matt Cullen was the third star with 2 assists. Alright, so each team scored twice in the first period. Mike Ratchie scored from Arvidsson and Alfredson, and then Andreas Dackel from McIver and Matt Cullen. It was 2-2 after 1, but then we ran away with the game. Bill Guerin from Nieuwendyk and Holmstrom, Marian Osa on the power play from Peltonen and Zvela, and then Bill Guerin from Shara and Nieuwendyk, and it was 5-2 after 2. And Andreas Dackel scored for good measure in the third from Matt Cullen and Joe Thornton. Final score is 6-2. Scott Stevens has played in 1,250 games, 35 years old. Still a 3-star player. Steve Sullivan extends his assist streak to 8 games. In that same game, he had a goal and an assist against Tampa Bay. There was no stopping Vincent D'Anfous in Montreal, who had 3 goals and an assist for 4 points. Vladimir Orsa in Washington is suspended. He's going to miss 3 games. Alfredson's about to be back. Yeah, you can have number 1. I'm sending you right down to right back down. I am fixing my mistake. So, alright, making sure. Alright, Tim Thomas, you can come. Come have fun with us. We have wins. No cookies, just wins. Alright, this is the lineup I wanted to start the season. So we're doing pretty good, I think. As far as the lineup goes, the record is we're playing for 500, so that's not that great. But all right, so we are playing tomorrow against the Devils at home again. Milan Hajduk extends his goal streak to 6 games. He scored a goal against the Islanders. Teemu Selanne extends his point streak to 12 games with a goal and an assist against the Rangers. Those guys are on fire, and we're about to play both Colorado and Phoenix. So, yeah. I don't need to play against players that are on fire like that. I have my own problems to deal with. So, we are playing the Devils, who are still undefeated this year. They are 3-0. Nobody on the injured list. John Madden is hurt. He might play hurt. So Martin Brodeur and Martin Brochu in net. So they have both Martins in net. Of course, Brodeur is a 5-star goaltender. He is extremely good. Scott Stevens, Christerian, Wade Redden, of all people, is playing in New Jersey. Of course, Wade Redden played most of his career with Ottawa. Tommy Albaline, Per Juice, Sean Hill, and Scott Niedermeyer and Brian Rafalski on D. So, good goaltending, pretty good D. Pretty Kaliash, Scott Pellerin, Steve Sullivan, Bobby Elick, Brian Rolston, John Madden, Scott Gomez, Tony Amante, Brian Giunta, Claude Lemieux, Brett Lindros, Scott Walker, and Peter Sikaros, and decent forwards. So, yeah, New Jersey's pretty good. That would be why they are undefeated. They're going to be tough to beat. But we have the home crowd behind us. I believe in us. I believe in my team. Martin Brodeur in net for them. We are going with Tim Thomas, his first start of the season after coming back from injury. And we won 5-4. Might not have been elegant defensively, but we managed to put 5 past Marty Brodeur. That's pretty good. Shots were even at 40 apiece, so it was a pretty even game. Gave away 6 apiece, 10,659 people in attendance. So, Daniel Alfredson, first star of the game with a goal and 2 assists. Peter Sikora, second star with 2 assists. And Joe Nieuwendyk, third star with 2 assists as well. So the Devils actually took a 2-1 lead in the first, with Vili Peltonen scoring for us, assisted by Alexei Yashin. And then they even took a 3-1 lead in the second, but then we scored 3 straight with Alfredson assisted by Nieuwendyk, Yashin from Peltonen and Hammerlick, and Shara from Alfredson and Datsyuk, and we were up 4-3 at that point. And then we would trade goals in the third period. Datsyuk scored for us, assisted by Alfredson and Joe Nieuwendyk, and they scored once, but that was it. 5-4 win. Steve Sullivan extends his assist streak to 9 games at that game against us. He had a goal and an assist. Alright, our next game is in 3 days. We're going to play against Phoenix. And of course, Teemu Selanne is still on a tier. Teemu Selanne extends his point streak to 13 games with an assist against the Buffalo Sabres, and there's a trade between the Red Wings and the Predators. Tim Sweeney and Andy Moog. Oh, Andy Moog was in Detroit for quite a while, although he's been playing in the minors this year. So Tim Sweeney and Andy Moog are going to the Predators for Carlis Scratch-Teens. Interesting trade. I would say that Detroit got the best of it. I mean, Andy Moog is not going to play for many more years. He's 39. And Tim Sweeney is, declining in ability. He's just a 1-star player. So, yeah. The Red Wings with the better trade there. So, Nashville is not doing too good. And that's not the first trade that they've kind of lost. So, they need to do better. Of course, they didn't get David Poyle as their GM, so maybe that's why. Brian Savage has a memorable game. Oh boy, Montreal won 9-1 against Florida, and Brian Savage had 3 goals and an assist in that game. Brian Savage, 28 years old, 2-star player. Sounds about right. Dynamic passing leads to productive night for Joe Sakic. Great. We're about to play them, and Joe Sakic's doing. Oh God, we're about to play them, and they are undefeated. They are 6-0. All right, Sakic had 4 assists against Boston. Steve Sullivan's assist streak ended at 9 games. He was held scoreless against Anaheim. Memorable night for Trevor Linden, who had a hat-trick 3 goals against Calgary. All right, so we are playing Phoenix. Phoenix have a good start to their season. They are 3-1-1, and as we know, Teemu Selanne is on a tear right now. He has 13 games with a point or something like that. In net, it's not that great. Where is Bibulin? Oh, he's hurt. All right. So Nikolai Bibulin is hurt. Thank God they didn't get rid of him. That wouldn't have made much sense. So they have Patrick Desrochers and Steve Passmore in net right now with the injury. Phil Housley, Radoslav Suchi, Boris Mironov, Rushdin Saleh, Daron Quint, Jason Doig, and Teppo Numminen on D. It's okay. It's decent, not great. Alatalo, Shane Doan, Garpin Love, Isbister, Keith Kitchett, Trudel. Oh yeah, we played them in preseason. I remember because Trudel had hurt himself with the barbecue. Yeah, there's a lot of half-star players on that lineup and everything. And then there's a few star players, so I'm not sure what to expect. Go Sens go. We haven't won on the road so far. So we're going back to Mike Dunham, playing against Patrick Desrochers. We lost 3-0, so we are having problems winning on the road. We outshot them 44-33, so, I mean, we got robbed all day by Patrick Desrochers, who is the first star with a 44-save performance. Zamnov is the second star with 2 assists, and Teemu Selanne, third star with a goal. So Selanne's point streak continues. That's probably one of the emails I have there. Andreas Dackel improves at left wing. All right, making yourself versatile. That's not bad. Teemu Selanne extends his point streak to 14 games with a goal against us. All right. We are playing in Colorado in 2 days. Hopefully we can get a first road win. It's going to be tough. 12 points, that's probably first in the league. Zygmunt Palffy extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had 2 goals against the Trashers. Ron Francis is back from suspension in Pittsburgh. Alright, we are playing, like I said, in Colorado. They haven't played since I saw their record earlier, so they are still 6-0, 12 points, undefeated, probably the best team in the league. And we all know that it's difficult to go in Colorado and play there because of the altitude. So Sammy Paulson is hurt for quite a while, so Paulson not going to play that game. And then look at those 4- and 5-star players. That's crazy. Alright, so they have Craig Beddington and Milan Nelichka in net. So, not that great in net. Kevin Dean, Robin Regier, Martin Skula, Adam Foote, Aaron Miller, and Jan Vopat on D. Again, the D is not really all that great. But the forwards, wow. Adam Deadmarsh, Alex Tanguay, Claude Lapointe, Joe Sacco, Peter Forsberg, Joe Sakic, Matt Sundin, Stefan Yell, Hanson Carter, Edut Kovalenko, Einout, Nolan, Parrish, and Manny Malhotra. So, Yeah, they're gonna hurt us probably, and we're playing them twice in a home and home, but with 5 days in between each games. So at least it's a home and home for us. I don't know if it's gonna be a home and home for them. I don't know if they're gonna be playing other teams in between. All right, let's go and try to get our first road victory against the best team in the league. We are going with Mike Dunham, who needs to get his season started. And Craig Billington, undefeated, obviously, is going to be the goaltender for Colorado. And we lost 5-4. I guess we put in a valiant effort, but ultimately that wasn't good enough. We were outshot 33-25. Matt Sundin was the first star of the game with a goal and an assist. Joe Nieuwendyk, second star for us with a goal and 2 assists. And Milan Eduk, third star with 2 assists. Alright, so we traded goals in the first period with Matt Collins scoring on the power play unassisted. And then 9 seconds later, Colorado would tie it up. Then we traded goals again in the second period. So Thomas Holmstrom scored from Joe Nieuwendyk and Norm McIver, and Nieuwendyk from Shara and Holmstrom, and it was 3-3 after 2. But then they would take a 5-3 lead. Thomas Holmstrom scored with 1 second left in the game from Joe Nieuwendyk and Bill Guerin. It was 5-4, obviously, with 1 second left. We didn't have time to tie the game. All right. No additional missed time for Calgary's Len Barry, not to be mistaken with Tyson Barry. So he is not suspended. Adam Oates played in 1,000 games, was held scoreless against Phoenix. Shane Doan in that same game had a great game. He had a goal and 4 assists. Always still in that same game, red light stays on for Teemu Selanne with 4 goals and 1 assist. And that was 15 straight games with a point for him. Oh, Jaromir Jagr is hurt with a day-to-day injury. He's going to be out about a week, 8 days that it says here. Peter Bundra has a memorable game. He had 3 goals and 2 assists against San Jose. So Washington doing pretty good this year for the first time in a while. 4-1 to start the season. There was no stopping Ray Whitney, who had a hat-trick, 3 goals in that same game against Washington. Alright, so we have 4 days here to reflect on our terrible road record, really. We are 3-0 at home and 0-4 on the road. That needs to change. There was no stopping Markus Naslund. Oh boy, 9-1 win for Philadelphia. So, oh wow, Markus Naslund had 5 goals and 3 assists against Buffalo. Wow, I wish my players would do that. Mark Recchi in the same game had 2 goals and 4 assists. And Washington players reinstating Team Kangaroo Court with Chris King in charge of catching a younger player stepping on the logo. Oh, the Flyers are trying to pass Gerard Scaldi through waivers now that he's back from injury, I guess. Patrick Roy has reached 800 games played, still a 5-star goaltender, 34 years old, still playing for Montreal. Pierre Turgeon has tallied 400 goals in his career. It was that game that Patrick Roy got his milestone, so he scored a goal. 400 in his career. Pretty good. He's 30. Suspension over for Vladimir Orsa, so he is back in the Washington lineup. Oh, dressing room shenanigans may cost Colorado players. Yes, you need something bad to happen. Manny Malhotra and Milan Heduk are the pranksters. Alright, so I guess it was a home and home for Colorado as well. Oh, no, they played yesterday. Okay, that's fine with me. Matt Sundin extends his assist streak to 8 games. In that game, he had an assist against Montreal. So Colorado is still undefeated. We just looked at their roster, so I won't go through that. Lost 5-4 in Colorado about a week ago. Now playing at home against probably the best team in the league. They are sending Milan Nilichka this time. We're going with Mike Dunham, so Mike Dunham really needs to put a few good games in a row here. And we won 42, so what am I going to end the season with a 41-41 record because I'm going to lose every single road game and win every single home game at this point? Would really make things weird if that was the case. So 42 win. This time we outshot them 33-29. And we got 12,278 people in attendance, so hosting the best team in the league is bringing some people in attendance. Still a little low, but I guess we're slowly creeping back up. Alexei Yashin was the first star of this game. He had 2 goals and an assist. Dan Heinold for Colorado was the second star with a goal, and Daniel Alfredson was the third star with an assist. So we took a 2-1 lead in the first with Brian McCabe scoring from Yashin and Alfredson. Then Nieuwendyk scored from Datsyuk and Amerlik. Then Colorado scored. Like I said, it was 2-1. Then Colorado tied it. And Yashin scored from Shara and Zvela. So we were up 3-2 after 2. And then Yashin really hurt the Colorado Avalanche by scoring his 4th goal of the season in the 3rd period, assisted by Brian Berard and Vili Peltonen. And just like that, we won 4-2 and gave Colorado their first loss of the season. Still in that game, Matt Sundin extended his assist streak to 9 games. He did get an assist in the game. Alright, now we are playing Buffalo in 2 days. Alright, Oilers Miroslav Shotan suspended. He's going to be missing 6 games. Alright. Oh, and Vladimir Orsa, who's just back from suspension, now stepped on the logo, and he's the culprit in Washington. Alright, we have 4 games left in October. Yeah, 4. 3 at home and then 1 on the road. And with the way we're playing on the road, it might not be a bad thing. Teemu Selanne's point streak ended at 15 games, so the Kings finally is the team that stopped Selanne. He was held pointless in a 2-0 loss. Alright, Buffalo Sabres are 3-5 to start the season for 6 points. So not doing that great over there. Oh, they have quite a few injuries. Shane Corson, Karel Piros, I think his name. Camille Piros, and Pat LaFontaine. Ooh. So Pat LaFontaine not playing this game. They still have Ashek in net, with Manny Legacy as the backup. So the goaltending is pretty much set over there. Philippe Boucher, Dimitri Kalinin, Grant Ledyard, Doug Janik, Jason Willey, Ronnie Sundin, Keith Carney, Marty McSorley, Peters. Well, that's a lot of D, man. Yeah, the D is not that great. Dave Andreychuk, Brad May, Rem Murray. Oh, looks like Buffalo picked up Gerard Scaldi off waivers from the Flyers. Oh, God. You know they're in trouble when they have Jonas Bergquist playing for them. I guess good for him to still be playing in the league. 37 years old. Yeah, Buffalo is not that great. Mogilny is 30 and he's starting to decline. Alright. We probably should win this game, which means we're probably going to lose it. Manny Legacy in net for Buffalo. We're going with Mike Dunham. Ooh, we won 7-0. A little bit of a humiliating loss from Buffalo here. We outshot them 48-21. We had 10,382 people in attendance. Alexei Yashin was the first star of this game with 3 assists. Matt Cullen was the second star with 2 assists, and Daniel Alfredson was the third star with 2 goals. So we took a 3-0 lead in the first, with Nieuwendyk scoring from Zvela and Datsuk, then Alfredson from Yashin and Radji, Andreas Dackel from Thornton and Matt Cullen. So we were up 3-0 after one, and then scored twice more in the second. Alfredson from Peltonen and Amardik, Guerin from McIver and Yashin, and then finally in the third, Shara scored from Dackel and Cullen, and Marian Osa on the power play from Nieuwendyk and Alexei Yashin. It was a one-way affair. We dominated from start to finish, and that's how I like it. Milan Eduk extends his point streak to 12 games. He had an assist against the Thrashers. Matt Sundin's assist streak ended at 9 games, so in that same game he was held scoreless. Strong night for Shane Doan. Another good game for him. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals against Washington. Chris Draper has a great game in that same game. He had 4 assists. Brendan Shanahan is back from suspension. Martin Gélina in Toronto is not suspended. And then there's a Montreal Canadian player that wrecked a one-of-a-kind car. Who is it going to be? Probably Patrick Roy. Yeah. There you go. Patrick Roy might be hurt a little. Oh, speaking of hurt, we have Mike Sillinger that's hurt here. Knee contusion day-to-day, okay. Alright, we have a 4-day little break there. And then we're going to host the Calgary Flames. Brendan Morrison lights the lamp. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Canucks. Because in my universe, he plays for the Rangers, not the Canucks. Alright, scouting reports. Not interested. Did they change that? Like, usually when it's day-to-day, the recovery time says 1 day. That's how it used to be in the past. Now it just says day-to-day. I guess it makes more sense to put it, because in the past you would have that say 1 day, like for a week sometimes, but now that it says day-to-day, I guess it makes more sense. So that's a very slight amelioration. I like it. I mean, sometimes I'm critical and I point out the things that I think that they don't do all that great, but I like to point out the things that I think they do great too. So red light stays on for Doug Gilmour, who had 3 goals and an assist against the Stars. Good game for Doug Gilmour. He is not getting any younger, though. Pavel Bure extends his point streak to 12 games with a goal against the Flyers. Milan Eduk's point streak ended at 12 games. Didn't get a point against the Detroit Red Wings. Memorable game for John Leclerc, still playing for Montreal. He had another hat-trick, 3 goals against the Chicago Blackhawks. Alright, 3 games left in October, and it's going to be 3 games in 4 nights for us. So by the time we go to Atlanta, we're going to be tired. Oh, I almost moved forward here. So Calgary's not having too great of a start to the season. They are 4-6-1. And let's see here. They don't have any injuries. Jim Carrey and Mike Vernon in net. Yeah, Vernon is 36. He's starting to be old. So the goaltending is not all that great. On D, they have Al Gill that they traded for. Jamie Rivers, Tony Ludman, Alexander Karpovtsev, Stephen Alco, Jamie Eward, and Al McInnes. Al McInnes is 36. He's starting to be old as well. Len Barry, Rob Gaudreau, Brigley, Cowan, Janssen, Stillman, Nieminen, Robert Reichel, Toms, Randy Robitaille, Kitchucks, Theo Fleury, Jeff Odgers, and Kirilenko. They don't have a great team. Corey Summon is good, Theo Fleury is good, Al McInnes is good, the rest is not all that great. They are going with Jim Carrey in that, so it looks like he's the starter. He's played in 8 games. We're going with Mike Dunham. And we won 5-1, so I'm still with perfect record at home and perfectly imperfect record on the road. Alright, 5-1 win against Calgary. Pretty good. Looking at their team, I would have been very disappointed if I would have lost. We outshot them 45-29. 10,993 people in attendance. Daniel Alfredson was the first star of this game. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals, which is probably the email I have up there. Norm McIver was the second star with 2 assists, and Alexei Yashin was the third star with 2 assists as well. So we took a 2-1 lead in the first, with Joe Nieuwendyk scoring, assisted by Datsuk and Marian Osa. And Alfredson scored from Yashin, so it was 2-1 after 1. We scored twice more in the second. Nieuwendyk from McIver and Datsuk, and Alfredson from McIver and Peltonen. So it was 4-1, and then Alfredson completed his hat-trick in the third period with an assist from Alexei Yashin. No stopping Daniel Alfredson. I know, I was there. I was at the edge of my seat the entire game. Brad Bombardier has been put on waivers. I'm going to claim him. Doesn't hurt to have a little bit more depth to play D. A good game for Josef Stumpel, who had 3 goals and 2 assists against Tampa Bay. So a pretty good game for him. In that same game, Adam Oates had a good game as well. He had a goal and 4 assists. Pavel Bure's point streak ended at 12 games. He was held scoreless against Phoenix. Ooh, Alexander Kavanagh falls from roof, suffers injury, so that's kind of new, or at least we haven't seen that one in a while. Blues defenseman Alexander Kavanagh that should be corrected, is not in the best of shape after falling from the roof of his house yesterday. According to team officials, Kavanagh had been shingling his roof with a friend when he apparently slipped and fell over the side of the 2-story home. He will miss the next few weeks with a strained back, and Toronto's coached by Barry Trotz. And St. Louis is still doing really bad. Last year they started really poorly, and they're starting really poorly again. They are 1-9 so far this year, and they let Cujo go. What's wrong with you? Alright, Vyacheslav Kozlov extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal against Chicago. And I managed to claim Brad Bombardier. He's not a superstar or anything, but he's a defensive type of defenseman. So I'm going to send him to the minors, and he's going to be there for me to call back up if I need somebody after an injury or something. He's incensed that I didn't give him the number he wanted. Oh, really? You know what I do with players that are incensed because of a number? I send them to the minors. There you go. Go be frustrated in the minors. All right, so 2 games in 2 nights to finish the month here. We are hosting the Florida Panthers first. So the Panthers are not doing too good. They are 3-6-2. I believe we might have played them in the preseason. Their outlook is win now. Wow, okay. Win now with that lineup. Okay. John Graham and John Van Beesbrook in net. And then, yeah, we did play them. Bobby Dallas is going to be playing injured. Mark Lawrence is on the injured reserve. Nicholas Agman. Yeah, not a whole lot of pure talent in Florida. So I'm hoping we can win this. They are going with John Van Beesbrook in net, and we are going with Mike Dunham. Yeah, we did play them in the preseason and won 1-0. And now we won 5-2. Alright, so we outshot them 45-22. Daniel Alfredson was the first star of the game with 2 goals and an assist. Joe Nieuwendyk, second star with a goal and 2 assists. And Zvela, third star with 2 assists. We had 11,684 people in attendance. We traded goals in the first period with Alfredson scoring on the power play from Zvela and Nieuwendyk. And then we traded goals in the second as well with Nieuwendyk scoring for us, assisted by Shara. So it was tied at 2 after 2, but then we scored 3 times in the third period. Yashin from Zvela and Alfredson. And then Alfredson on the power play from Nieuwendyk and Yashin. And then Norm McIver would score in an empty net from Matt Cullen. And that was 5-2. And that was plenty enough to get the W. Joe Nieuwendyk extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and 2 assists in that game against Florida. Then finally we are going to be playing the newest expansion team that did quite a splash by signing Cujo. So, Murray Barron has been put on waivers by the Trashers. I am not going to pick him up. So, excellent passing leads to productive night for Ray Bork, who had 5 assists. Wow, 5 assists against Buffalo. So Ray Bork is still a 3 stars and a half player at 38. Pretty good. John Leclerc extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and an assist against the Rangers. John Leclerc extends his point streak to 12 games. Okay. And Mike Sillinger might be back soon. Alright, playing in Atlanta against the Trashers. They are 5-4, so not a bad start. I mean, for an expansion team and everything, that's pretty decent. Alright, so they have Doug Brown and Sergei Krivokrasov hurt and on the injured reserve. So those 2 players are not going to be playing the game. So they have Cujo and Tommy Salo in net. They're set in net. And the D's looking pretty good too, with Elenius Kelly Johansson, of course, stolen from us. Marek Malik, Yanni Locanen, Sylvain Lefebvre, Dan Boyle, Jeff Finlay, Francis Acusser, and Marcus Rangerson. That D is pretty good. There's no clear superstar on it, but it is a well-rounded D for sure. Adam Graves, Magnus Johansson, what's his name? Matthias Johansson. I tried about every possible iteration of Swedish names that start by M and didn't get the right one. Valery Kamienski, Janne Ojanen, Kai Nurminen, Sami Kapanen. Lots of Finns on that team. Derek Armstrong, Chris Gratton, Peter Nedved, Ed Olchuk, Patrick Stefan, and Bob Korkam. So the offense is not as impressive, but they have good goaltending and a good D, so that can keep them in games. And let's not forget I'm playing on the road. I still do not have a road victory this year, so yeah. Alright, facing Cujo, we're going with Tim Thomas, who won his only game that he played. And it's a 1-1 tie. I guess I'll take it over losing on the road again. So 1-1 tie for us against the Atlanta Thrashers. We completely outshot them 42-19. Of course, they had Cujo in net. He didn't even get a star for that. Wow, 41 saves and doesn't even get a star. Okay, so Sami Elniash for Atlanta was the first star with an assist. Brian McCabe for us, second star with an assist. And Peter Nedved for Atlanta, third star with an assist as well. So they score. Patrick Stefan scored in the second period, but Marian Osa tied the game with a little bit more than 6 minutes left to go in the game, assisted by Brian McCabe, and that score held. Wow, Atlanta's passing a lot of players through waivers. Now it's Kari Norminen and Sami Elenius. I'm not going to pick them up, but... Alright. That here. Mike Salinger ahead of schedule. Good. Development report. Alright. That's a pretty good one, I think. Marcus Naslund and Chris Osgood were the players of the month in the NHL, so we are now officially on November 1st, which means that the video is about to end here soon. We're going to take a look at, well, let's take a look at the standings first. So we are 4th in the East with 15 points, with Montreal being at top of our division with 18 points. So we played the same amount of games, and we're 3 points behind. Now we have to watch for the Islanders and Pittsburgh Penguins. They both only played 9 games, so they have 3 games on us, and they're only 4 points behind. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And in the West, Phoenix is first with Colorado. Colorado struggled a little bit after a really good start. And then Detroit, Vancouver, San Jose, Edmonton, Chicago, and Los Angeles. Oof, St. Louis is not doing good at all. 2 points on the season. They are 1-10. Even Tampa Bay is better than them. Tampa Bay is routinely the worst team in the league after every season, but yeah. Alright, let's take a look at our stats. I think Alfredsson's going to look pretty good in there. He had a few pretty good games. So Nieuwendyk, 17 points in 12 games. Yashin, 16 in 12. Alfredsson missed a game with injury. 14 points in 11 games. And then Zvela, 9 points in 12 games. So pretty much everybody contributed. I mean, I'm not going to be too hard on a guy like Joe Thornton because he has only 3 points in 12 games because he's 20 and probably playing down in my lineup. But a guy like Brian Berard has 4 assists in 5 games. That looks pretty good. Andreas Dackle is definitely doing better than he did last season. He has 5 points in 10 games. I mean, that's already more than he did last year. Last year, he had 3 points in 32 games. That was horrible. Now he's at 5 points in 10 games, so that's a little bit better. So, all in all, I am not disappointed with those stats at all. We're looking pretty good. Now, for the league leaders, Timo Selänne has 15 goals in October. Wow. So, he is first. Mark Recchi has 17 assists, and he's first for that. So Timo Selänne is the best scorer in the league right now with 25 points. Awesome. Alright, so that's where we stand after the month of October. We are 7-4-1 for 15 points. Next game is going to be on the road in Washington. We're having some troubles on the road, still no wins, so hopefully we can turn that around. But all in all, a pretty decent start to the season. We just have to keep going that way, and we're going to be in the playoffs again, and maybe this time we can make it further, or dare I say, challenge for the cup. I don't want to go that far. the owner only wanted us to compete for a playoff spot, so that's what we're gonna be doing here. So I am going to call this a video. So as usual, I want to thank you for tuning in, and if you've liked the video, feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. That's always appreciated, and until I roll this game again, see you guys next time. Thank you.